47 seconds of logos. Also Discovery. Listen, Ghost House Pictures, this is not a ghost. This is a skeleton. Nitpicky? Yes, but inconsistent and confusing branding is like, oh, I don't know, coming to an Evil Dead movie for the Bruce Campbell slapstick horror vibes and being served discount Insidious instead. Who would even do that and insist on doing it 3 times since 2013 exactly? Movie says you're welcome to anyone over 45 who just received a much-needed analog orgasm.
This is Dr. Benjamin Price.
Narration. Also, this Price not being the Price who has been warning us about grisly ghouls from every tomb and the funk of 40,000 years.
Professor of Ancient History.
Creating a new professor who made the mistake of opening the Necronomicon several years ago, and instead of just having this character be Professor Nobi, who was introduced in Evil Dead 2. Because Evil Dead movies love to say f*** you to Necronomicon continuity.
The fabled Necronomicon. The Book of the Dead is not just a myth.
This is the 6th Evil Dead movie. We get it. Evil book, evil monsters. Starting with yet another recorded exposition dump on the matter is honestly just bad Necronomiconomy. I'm guessing Benjamin chose to make a verbal recording after reviewing his notebook and realizing, holy shit, this incredibly important research is f***ing unreadable.
The Circle of the Wise Men have found it.
A billion sin rebate is up for grabs if the Circle of Wise Men ends up being the Ghostbusters.
An item of great power, capable of sending them back to hell. Should they return, I've hidden it.
But why hide the one weapon that can stop the demons? Shouldn't he pass it down to someone trustworthy? Or at least let someone know that you finally found a non-chainsaw-based weapon that works? I mean, sure, you don't want the demons to find out, but it's equally useless if no one ever finds it.
I've hidden it. Behind rune and hex.
A rune and hex that we will never see and will never be mentioned of again, like an unwanted and inconvenient third child. What are you, Army of Darkness?
It must remain that way, for if unsealed, they will sense it.
How the f*** does he know that? This weapon was found after the initial threat had been dealt with, so he doesn't have any first-hand knowledge of what the f*** happens when it's uncovered. Where's your bibliography, Professor? Cite your references! Also, why would the Deadites be able to sense it in the first place? How would one accidentally make it a demon-killing dagger and also a homing beacon for said demons?
They will smell its call in the earth.
Oh, well, why didn't you say so? Sudden Oculus. The director gave this man an apple, so we'd know he's an asshole and we shouldn't care about him being the first freebie death of the movie. It's either a complete coincidence that he fishes out the scalped head of Jessica's sister from Evil Dead Rise, or this is another prime example of a Deadite over-marinating its food before dinner. Jared's having a bad day for sure, but I don't know why he's refusing to scream. He's being tied up with fishing line, not strangled. This feels like the perfect time to drop my Under the Evil Dead Sea remix, but I'm not sure you or my lawyers are ready for how problematic my Sebastian accent is.
I got you, buddy.
Saying I've got you, buddy, until you realize your buddy doesn't have legs anymore feels concerningly prejudiced. Jump cuts to vomiting. Any cuts to vomiting anywhere near my movie-watching eyeballs. Calm down, Evil Dead. Might have a pull cord, but it isn't a chainsaw. Little tension will be found here. You can let the boat start. Also, the movie is daring to do some faux Jaws score here, as if it deserves to pollute the waters of a genuine horror classic. I can't believe how many people watched this in a theater in 2026 and didn't immediately recognize this as Deadite Jessica from the beginning and end of 2023's Evil Dead Rise. I mean, she was in the movie for an entire 3 minutes and was played by a totally different actress. But come on, horror nerds. Fucking casuals. What was the plan here? Jessica seemingly woke up after Joseph unwrapped the weapon in his attic, but how does killing these two further that goal? Did she really need these 2 warm-up kills before leaving the lake? The fact that she can fly and boil an entire body of water is all the proof I need that the Deadites should take all of one weekend to conquer the entire fucking planet. Did they ever choose to stop with the fucking dramatics long enough to do so?
Run it.
Sudden teeth! Also, this confusing boner is brought to you at the intersection of vehicular manslaughter and twerking, is a sentence from the Necronomicon that should never be spoken aloud.
Something for the birthday boy here.
This frame seemingly exists just to show that Alice is a terrible photographer.
Alice.
Will survives this longer than he should.
I wanted to get it so, to encourage you to finally finish your book.
No one close to Joseph addresses the fact that he might not be finishing any of his books because he's choosing to write them by fucking hand.
Well, we French girls like to give hand jobs when we say hello.
The way my college girlfriend proactively reacted to this citation needed sin 30 years before I wrote it.
Promise me we'll never get married, okay?
Blaming marriage on the fact that Will has most likely been a personified red flag since birth and not just since the altar.
Go to hell!
Foreshadowing that makes my eyes roll so far back into my skull a passerby would be forgiven for mistaking me for a demon.
Will, please, you're drunk.
I'll drive you home.
I'm not saying Will's eventual death is 100% on them, but the Deadite and Jessica is extremely lucky their attempt to stop him drunk driving was, no, wait, please don't go. Apparently, the longer a deadite possesses a body, the stronger they become, which is probably why Jessica here can fly and boil an entire lake. So why does she let Will kill her here and reset all that progress? There must have been a way to get Will to stop, possess him, and then go to the vacation home as a super powerful possessed duo. But no, apparently she has to use his body and the trail of familial trauma it creates as a fucking demonic Uber instead.
Now lead us to your family.
The ability to sniff out this magic knife has some pretty fucking specific caveats. It will, apparently, only let her sniff out a person who is somewhat adjacent to the knife, but can be used to eventually maybe lead her to it. That's not tracking the knife, that's tracking its chain of custody. Also, what if Will hadn't been within walking distance of the lake? Or are we saying that she walked for an undetermined amount of time, knowing that Will would be here at this exact moment? How does the demon know that shit and not anything else about the knife?
Klaatu, Murata.
So is Kanda Deadite for set the car on fire more? I thought all they could do with these words is summon more demons. What are the goddamn rules, Evil Dead? What are the rules? Also, the fact that she can just recite the words from the Book of the Dead and pull some supernatural shit without the book even being present is confusing to me. It might be internally consistent with established Evil Dead lore, but I don't like it. Knowing that you can't top the epic title reveal from your predecessor and then not even try.
His parents basically gave him the vacation home.
The fact that makeup tutorials mixed with movie exposition would be a fucking lucrative corner of the YouTube market. Also, just so we're clear, this is the vacation home. I don't know about you, but this vacation home doesn't look very vacation-y. It's like they told the realtor they were specifically looking for something that could potentially host a party of deadites at some point in the near future.
Since when do you have a gun?
It's always disappointing when a Chekhov's gun doesn't give me something to riff on and it's just a gun.
They promised me they would stop at noon, and they should be wrapping up any minute now. We're gathered here.
But at this point, or at any point before the start of the funeral, you go there and tell them to knock it the fuck off, right? Also, what is achieved by this funeral being interrupted by construction? Is it meant to be funny? Uncomfortably cringe? It feels like we've briefly drifted into a Richard Curtis comedy, and a Richard Curtis-led Evil Dead movie might be something I finally love, actually. Why are there only 6 people at Will's funeral? I know he was a dick, but he was a rich dick, and rich dick funerals pull in the biggest crowds.
And we could have been Grandpa Edgar and Grandma Susan.
Which is a bold thing to mourn in front of your other, definitely not dead son.
Alice, would you like to share something with us? Special memory of your husband?
Spontaneous eulogies are something that happen if you die on an island after a plane crash. Eulogies at actual funerals are planned and organized and definitely don't play out like a fucking blindside.
I didn't prepare a speech.
Okay. Wow.
Holy shit. It is wild that this lady is fully putting the burn in Evil Dead Burn.
I would like to play a song that held a special place in William's heart.
No one will be seated as we listen to over a minute of some French song while watching 6 characters go through the 7 stages of grief in real time. These people are supposed to be rich, right? Will owned a club and Joseph has been gifted a holiday home. So what the hell is with this ridiculous half-assed funeral? What year is this movie set? Is it even possible to be whatever age this man is and own a phone with an actual headphone jack?
I'd like to say goodbye to my son one last time.
You get lots of opportunities to say goodbye. This, oh, I'd better swing by seconds before he's cremated goodbye is so contrived that it feels like Edgar has already been possessed by some kind of demon of plot progression. Why the fuck did the demon wait this long? What if, like a regular human, Edgar hadn't gone back here for one last goodbye? The box was seconds away from being 100% ash. Was the demon in there thinking, well, shit, this is embarrassing. I made it all this way, but now my drama-loving ass is going straight back to hell, locked in a fucking box because I waited too long. A suspiciously Tarantino amount of time will be spent on Alice fixing the chafing on her foot.
She said that she was really touched. She agreed to the cremation, so the burial, we could do it where she wanted.
Because a burial would have made it much harder for the demon to break out, and this location just happens to be close to the vacation home where the anti-Deadeye knife is kept. And this movie will never reveal how the demon managed to get Will's mom on their team before even meeting her. Generic B-roll footage in the 2020s taking an absolute beating from generic drone footage.
Looks so run down now.
Yeah, it's almost like this is an unbelievably terrible place to have a family reunion. Also, this Evil Dead movie had me a little excited with that opening scene in the club/restaurant, maybe suggesting we'd have a bit of change of venue from what these movies usually give us. Outside of Army of Darkness, we always end up at some rundown setting, be it a cabin in the woods or a neglected rundown apartment building, but nope, we're back at a shit-looking house for the remainder of the film. Alice just told us that she and Will got married here, but that doesn't mean they were living here. Why the f*** would they have wedding pictures around the place?
I mean, some of this stuff, it's fascinating, you know?
Unleashing flesh-possessing demons.
It's really unfortunate that Joseph's grandfather just so happened to be recording this contradictum immediatum portion of the Necronomicon.
So malevolent, as though the devil himself were here.
Does that sound fascinating to you?
Yes, it does.
I had to take care of this family.
Skip.
You should get some rest.
It's fine. I'm fine. It's the pills.
You know, pills. No need to explain any further, just pills for whatever the pills need to be for, so they can cause whatever side effects they need to cause.
I got her! She's trying to steal my money.
I agree this movie needs some levity, and I can appreciate trying to add in some humor. Just not sure going with the elderly lady suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia and being super racist to her grandson's girlfriend was the best comedic route. But if you enjoy it, you're in luck, because it happens around 72 more times. You know the old saying, the quickest way to a man's immortal soul is through his respiratory system? Bringing a knife to an exploding light bulb fight. Also, I guess we're in the f***ing with doors and lights portion of the possession proceedings. See, if those guys on the boat had been in a creepy house, they would have had much more lead time to get away. The absolute insane way she has decided to carry these wine glasses. Alice will be scratched as she takes the knife from Edgar. Feels like it should be important, but it is not.
Don't tell my wife.
Alice won't, even though she just walked in on what looked like Edgar trying to self-harm, which is odd, unless you're in a horror movie that needs Edgar to be free to f*** shit up a few scenes from now.
It's Niobe, a Greek queen. She's Edgar's favorite.
Having a favorite Greek queen. This isn't an old TV, and that isn't a super old video recorder, so why does this look like it was either filmed in the late 70s or underwater? I swear to ball, I will perpetrate 1,000 sins upon this movie if anything happens to that dog. Here's one as a goodwill deposit.
If you manage the restaurant alone, you'll need to know frozen from fresh.
Actually, that's really more of the cook's area of expertise. If Alice just hires competent chefs, she'll be fine, Susan.
I think Alice is right. This isn't the right time
It's
to...
never the right time for you, is it?
An impressive amount of this movie is spent excising figurative family demons instead of literal ones.
Edgar, can I have the corkscrew, please?
If you're worried enough to ask for the corkscrew, you should be worried enough to leave the table entirely and take your loved ones, including the dog, with you.
He's down below.
It is very hard to be afraid of anyone that is dribbling mashed potato after failing to Necronomicon nom nom. Nope. Also, did I know the dog was about to be forked because I've watched the movie multiple times and could therefore set it up with an easy 1,000 sins? Yes, absolutely. Does the movie deserve this setup? Yes, categorically. Also, it takes a movie once this hideous moment to breathe for impact amounts of time for someone to finally react and do something about it. I don't think they should necessarily jump to demonic possession, but I think I'd at least have a conversation about calling an ambulance before taking a ride with an unstable man who just stabbed a dog to death. Sometimes it's hard to put your finger on exactly where a horror movie shifts from scary thrill ride into graphic test of endurance. Evil Dead Burn lets you put 4 fingers on exactly that moment. Also, we can blame the Necronomicon and Deadites all we want, but I might also suggest not buying a car that has doors that transform into a goddamn machete when you slam your fingers in them.
Shoot me, Joe.
Joseph seems to think there's a zero-sum game here, where he either has to shoot his dad in the face or not at all, completely forgetting the nuanced middle ground that is shooting him in the dick. I know adrenaline can be crazy, but Thea has been stabbed repeatedly, almost choked to death, and is currently missing all of her fingers on one of her hands and is still fighting. I'm out for the count after stubbing my toe. Joseph leaving the car makes any future violence against him pretty hard to campaign against. Edgar inflicts a gnarly wound on Thea. However, the evidence in the next shot would suggest it's no biggie, since she can heal faster than Wolverine. Slow motion running, slow motion looking back, slow motion car door opening to reveal Demon Dad. Excitement? It's always an interesting choice to make clumsiness the real hero of the story. I have zero clue whether Benjamin was a great professor of the occult, but I do know everyone in his scrapbooking club would be super jealous of his abilities in that area.
October 1983.
Reference! Also, of this entire book, this is the random passage that she chooses to read.
December 1983. At last I have found it. A weapon that can stop them all.
This book has, I don't know how many pages of barely legible writing and newspaper articles plastered everywhere. Still, somehow Alice turns to the exact handful of pages she needs to see to be prepared for what's coming the rest of the movie.
I've hidden it, but now must leave again, and I must protect my wife and daughters.
By stabbing the demons with the one weapon you know can kill them, right? No? By hiding it in an attic and letting your family think you're insane on the off chance someone reads your notebook and puts the pieces together while being attacked by said demons? Yeah, that's a toughie.
Kunda Astrata.
Alice will flick through some random pages and find the demonic words individually instead of reading them from the page that had them all listed together.
This.
Alice says all but the final word, which I'm sure is supposed to raise all the tension, except what the does it matter? There's already a demon on the loose. Honestly, it's so dull and predictable, I'm willing her to summon another demon. Maybe we'd get lucky and resummon Alyssa Sutherland outside of the credits. Evil Dead Pet Cemetery. Also, the dog returning, even though it wasn't bitten or spat on or had any real exposure to the blood of possessed Edgar, made me wonder how the f these possessions actually work. We've seen so many of these and I still have no idea, so I looked it up. It comes down to spitting, vomiting, stabbing, licking, tree f***ing, denture swapping, and essentially being in the proximity of bad vibes. It's just as vague as I thought it was, which means I have zero clue why they haven't spread like a f***ing pandemic instead of worrying about magic cutlery. Loading your dishwasher as if you're in a goddamn Final Destination sequel instead of an Evil Dead sequel.
What's wrong? I don't understand you.
This conversation is pointless and nauseating in equal measure. I know Deadites can imitate the original inhabitant's voice, but that doesn't explain how one can talk with a full-on car seat headrest jammed through their mouth.
To your perfect family.
As we watch Deadite Thea parade around dramatically, remove the headrest from her face, and then drink candle wax, I'm left trying to think of a collection of demons who we could more easily prove were being paid hourly. Demon Thea decides to start beating the shit out of Susan, even though she has no idea which of them knows where the magic knife is. Susan could be the only one who knows, and she'd be fully within her rights to die from a heart attack right this instant. This franchise f***ing loves locking demons in rooms and then waiting for them to find a way to break out. Sure, everyone gets pissed when Ghostface uses a gun, but it's fine in an Evil Dead movie? Why the f*** would a Deadite need a gun? They have the strength and speed of however many men they need the strength and speed of, and they can f***ing fly. They most certainly do not need the right to bear arms too. If you're wondering why Deadite Edgar would repeatedly shoot himself, it's probably because, apparently, the more trauma a person is put through, the easier they are to possess. Oh, do you think that feels oddly and conveniently like giving yourself a blank check to film scenes that are creatively graphic but make little sense? Well, you, my friend, would be excellent at CinemaSins. I could totally bust my way through that wooden door, but this is Evil Dead Burn, motherfuckers, and I am nothing without my commitment to cohesive branding. Trapping yourself inside the house that also has a demon in the basement. Also, thinking these flimsy and ill-executed barricades will be enough to stop the animated corpses that seek to do you harm.
I'll be right back, Mom.
Leaving the elderly lady with one leg, dementia, and confined to a wheelchair all alone while there are f***ing demons nearby. Is there a single likable person in this movie?
Please, open the door.
She just punched through the door. Why does she need Grandma's help at all? Burning down the house is a pretty solid plan. It will likely destroy the dagger, and at worst, you can look through the debris to find it. So why the f*** isn't Edgar doing this from the outside too? And why does Alice abandon this plan almost immediately? Find yourself someone who looks at you like this franchise looks at gas-powered rotary yard equipment.
You thought I'd let you have all the men in this family to yourself.
What the f*** is this demon talking about? I can do a fair amount of heavy lifting when it comes to working out why demons do the things they do, but this feels hard to rationalize as anything other than showboating.
Yes, something that what you need.
The demon knows that Joseph knows where the knife is, which makes all the f***ing around with everyone else all the more confusing. At some point, excessively tenderizing your meat just exposes your own anger issues rather than any culinary technique. Joseph keeps getting the shit kicked out of him and doesn't appear to be affected much at all. Yes, this is very similar to what they did with Ash in the first 3 films, but Ash clearly felt the effects of all the abuse. Oh, and we actually liked Ash.
Give us what we came for!
May I be so bold as to suggest telling them what you came for in the first place? And then he holds up an electric bread knife, because it's kind of like a chainsaw, but, you know, for cowards. And the audience will cheer and laugh, and cinema shall be saved!
The movies. I was your first.
I'll make sure I'm your last.
What an oddly specific way to expose his incognito tabs. Joseph gets all kinds of Deadite blood and saliva on him, but he never turns. I think I may have said this once or twice in this franchise, but once more with emphasis, what are the f***ing rules? Denture dentata! Denture dentata!
Polly, where's your leg?
You got to imagine that Alice was around the corner thinking I could brain her at any second, but it'll be so much cooler if I wait until she tees me up. Also, this leg removal means there wasn't a single protesting peep from Polly the one time Alice actually stole something from her. To be clear, he went through an entire kitchen of options and landed on f*** it, dishwasher door. Which, for the record, was still attached to the f***ing dishwasher when we last saw it. Also, you really can't leave a mess like this at the bottom of the stairs. Do you want ants? Because this is how you get Necronomicants.
Circle of the wise man field.
I mean, maybe. But also, you f***ers still haven't found the dagger, so I'd go with it's a draw at best. Alice flashes back to times when Will was verbally or physically abusive to her. No, Evil Dead Burn, you can't have your domestic abuse allegory and eat it too after I had to watch Joseph be impaled on the ridiculous Final Destination dishwasher contraption or Thea lick-polish Grandma Polly's dentures. Alice.
Stop hiding stuff and just tell me.
How most people feel an hour into every horror movie.
What's the circle of the wise man?
All right, stop. Exposition time.
They were looking for something. Maybe
maybe whatever that is, it can stop them.
That is a big f***ing leap, my man. They could be looking for an energy source that gives them eternal life. They could be looking for a red door to another dimension. They could be looking for grandma's f***ing French onion soup recipe, because they have delicious and unfinished business on this mortal plane. The only reason he thinks it's a thing that could stop them is because it just so happens to be what this movie is about.
No monsters.
You're lying.
Kids.
Don't worry, you're safe here.
I get that grandma needs to be taken care of, but do they really feel safe enough at this point to lay her down in bed and just f***ing hope for the best on the demons trying to get in and kill them front? Because I don't think they do.
Mom, I missed you.
That "it's just the pills" line from earlier is doing some heavy lifting. Susan hasn't been possessed yet, so there's no reason for her to see this and think, "Yay, Mumsy's back," instead of, "Ah, Necronomomom."
I miss you. I miss us.
Why was Edgar just waiting outside until this window was open? He's not a f***ing vampire. Aww. Also, this is still somehow the best adaptation of Wuthering Heights we've had this year. The fact that this obviously CG chain of blood spittle disappears as quickly from this scene as I wish I could.
They just want something back that my father stole.
Why is she down here talking to Joseph? The Deadites have now possessed her, meaning they have her knowledge, meaning they know whatever it is they're looking for is in the attic. She doesn't precisely know where the knife is, but she knows that all her father's junk is still up there. Just go to the f***ing attic. Also, why have they gone through any of this at all? They should have just snuck around the house, had a nibble on each of them one at a time, and gained all the information they needed. As an actual wise person once said,
"Going to eat your brains and gain your knowledge."
Where is the Kandarian dagger?
and why are the light bulbs so pissed at it? Alice's head survives this.
You need to stop meddling in our family affairs.
To be fair, Alice has tried her damnedest to have nothing to do with this family from the start.
Finally, something you can be proud of.
Evil Dead really wanting to rub our faces in how much it misunderstands the concept of giving head, choosing to stab the undead demon in the chest instead of the eyeballs. Evil Dead Burn out here trying to create an entire Oscar category for one-shots you barely recognize are one-shots because they don't really do anything other than being one-shot.
Where's the dagger? Where is it? Answer me!
Pretty sure not trying to knock Will unconscious will get more answers out of him, but you do you, Edgar. Barry, no one's gonna believe that there will be a chainsaw on this property, but chainsaws are pretty common, especially on an isolated piece of land like this. You know, it might be more suspicious if they end up using something that clearly resembles a chainsaw, but obviously isn't one. Like we wanted to use a chainsaw, but felt it was too on the nose or coincidental. Barry, yes, Gary, is there a chance you're overthinking this? Also, the only way I would have potentially let this bush trimmer fly is if it was the replacement for a recently detached limb. Alas, here we are, not replacing limbs with garden equipment. Alice, this is a spectacularly bad time to be checking out some family wedding snaps and reflecting on the symbolism of a broken marriage. For this reason exactly.
Don't turn a deaf ear. I asked you a question.
Putting way too much Freddy's Dead, the Final Nightmare into my Evil Dead Burn. This pen was stabbed into Edgar's chest, meaning stabbing it into Alice's ear should also infect her and turn her into a deadite. Maybe they were hoping that we'd be so grossed out by the fountain pen to the ear canal that we wouldn't notice, which to be fair, should have been a safe bet. This works. I applaud her empathy, but does Alice not know that Susan has been possessed too?
You knew, Susan.
You deserve everything that's happened to you.
I'd love to be in a place where I could compliment the movie for including a storyline about abuse, but it's pretty hard to reconcile laying all the blame at the mother of the abuser's door instead of the abuser. Alice has no idea what brought Susan to a place of turning a blind eye to the f***ed up behavior of her son, or the abuse that perhaps she herself has been through. Alice is angry, sure, but it feels like the movie is angry at Susan too, almost as if the Evil Dead franchise wasn't originally built on a foundation of exploring Ash's daddy issues and toxic masculinity.
Give me some sugar, baby.
Susan appears to be going full deadite in this scene, making me ask again what exactly the time frame is from getting bitten, drooled on, or whatever the f*** they have to do to actually turn. Is consistency too much to ask for in my demon body hopping movie? Is it?
You are my dead button!
Roll Evil Dead 2's credits. If any human took several razor blade swipes to the head, I'd be sinning how they didn't let go after the first. But we watched Thea remove a car headrest from her face without flinching. I don't know why Dead Susan gives a f*** about this spa treatment by comparison. I don't know why the people in this movie think anything other than face shots are going to work. The demons need the eyes and brain to make the body work. Take those out, and it seems that you're pretty f***ing golden.
I know where the dagger is. I'll help you find it.
And I'll cut you open with it like my brother should have.
If you're gonna try to pull the I swear I'm normal and not evil now trick, then maybe give it more than a couple seconds before going back to the Deadite voice. Just a suggestion.
You're worthless, just like my grandfather.
I feel like this movie knew that it couldn't recreate the lightning in a bottle that was Alyssa Sutherland's Ellie, but couldn't you have at least tried? Instead, we get the three most generically mediocre demons, a dog, and someone off camera saying, "That'll do, pig."
I told you it's not here.
Turns out it is here, and maybe if you'd stopped villain monologuing things at her while you let her let her stab you, you could have lived to undie another day. Also, the fact that Thea never came back from that dishwasher door pummeling suggests that you don't even need the knife to begin with. There's at least one other kitchen utility that works just as well. If the grandfather was really trying to hide the dagger, then why did he carve its goddamn name in the handle? Imagine how anticlimactic Indiana Jones would have been if the right goblet had "Jesus Christ, it's the Holy Grail" carved on the side of it. You have to stab each deadite individually? This dagger sucks. I thought it was a stab one deadite and they all return to Jumanji situation. Why would they get anywhere near this thing? As soon as they know it's in the house, they should all just leave and start spreading themselves across the country until there's too many of them for one knife to stab. There's not a single percentage of my conscious or subconscious that believes these individuals are interacting with anything that could be mistaken for an actual roof. Oh, so Evil Dead Burn is a Christmas movie. Got it. Sick burn, except Edgar wasn't even there for the original toxic whistling. For all you know, as unlikely as it may seem, Edgar was perfectly respectful to all women and only became an asshole after the tragic death of his firstborn son. Overdramatic lighter toss is overdramatic.
You still can't leave.
Turns out Will's body is still intact enough to be used by the Deadite. So what the f*** has he been doing this entire time instead of helping his fellow demons?
He's at home! Washing his tights!
The one thing Evil Dead movies always had going for them was all the practical effects work. And in this movie, they just decided to throw that out the window and go with some grade Z T2 CGI bullshit. Also, how exactly did Will even fucking get here? Or did Edgar turn into Will? Or do I even care anymore?
This is where I promised I'd always be with you.
Cute. What the f*** does this have to do with getting the knife? Why finish the job yourself when you can let slowly pouring tar and the machinery of industry do it for you? Clearly, Deadite Will is a union man, through and through. The movie thinks we need to see every single step Alice is taking to free her gorged ankle, and the movie is wrong. Oh, fuck off. If Deadite Will can feel this much pain, then how is he just walking around so calmly with 9th degree burns to 100% of his body and soul? Also, if he burned alive in the car, then how are there enough internal organs left to make this much blood? Sucks that after all this, Alice ends up going to jail for murdering her family and burning down the evidence.
Who did this to you?
My ex-husband.
Considering her husband has been legally dead for quite some time now, I don't think this is going to help her case.
Ma'am, what happened? Are you okay?
Asking this question in all earnestness to someone who was missing the entire lower half of their body proves this movie was dying to be a comedy in its previous life.
Mommy's back.
I've said plenty of nice things about Evil Dead Rise in this video. In the last video, I even said this. Alyssa Sutherland goes all in with this performance and creates an iconic horror movie villain that this movie can barely contain. Well, now I take it back. Ellie f***ing died, and it made sense, and her spontaneously coming back is some self-undermining bullshit. Okay, fine, she wasn't technically stabbed with the knife. That doesn't mean she can just reappear in the same f***ing body, or at least it shouldn't. This just feels like the real-world circle of wise-asses who make Evil Dead movies had no f***ing clue how great Alyssa Sutherland was gonna be and regret killing her too soon. You saw 3 at your Tobin Bell, and now you pay the price.